The first time I saw Iggy, I don't even remember who he was playing with. A skinny, odd-looking dude, and just out there with all the attitude in the world. Super comfortable on stage in front of people, would do anything like crazy antics. And I was like, who is this guy?
He was a bit of a wild bastard.
I was already playing with Lloyd, and so Lloyd and I started playing with Iggy.
We just got talking about what we wanted to do. We just said, you know, we should go somewhere and start a band.
The three of us grew up in a little village called Chippawa. We wanted to go somewhere where there was a bit of a scene, so we ended up moving to London, Ontario.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Nobody knew us there. We could put all our effort into writing songs and recording them and playing shows. These original recordings sound really crappy, but you can hear a lot of enthusiasm and energy and excitement because it was the first time we'd ever done anything like this. We were living on popcorn and roll your own cigarettes.
Lloyd had a reel-to-reel tape machine that he had bought.
You could record something onto the left channel and then play that back and record something else onto the right channel. This was the key to everything.
We'd have to do like drums and guitars and whatever on one side, and then on the other side, vocals, acoustic, flute, whatever. When you play them together, that's the finished product.
We had 3 microphones, small mono PV mixing board, and that's pretty much it. It was pretty primitive even then. We had to record quietly because our neighbors kept calling the police on us.
So this is where the police would come up.
Yeah.
Like it was a regular occurrence.
Yeah, they had a route. Go Jetter was the first original music thing that we did. I'm always going to look back on it as, you know, where it started for me. We couldn't keep it together as a band. We ended up at the end of that year moving back to Niagara Falls. It wasn't long after that Iggy met some people that were starting a band in Ohio.
There was a really good scene there, and he played a large part in it. And then, of course, that's where, you know, his life ended, was there in Ohio. So I was just blown away, very upset. Yeah.
He's cast a long shadow in my memory. Rob, or Iggy, has occupied my thoughts for a long time, and I often wondered what would have happened if he hadn't taken his life and if we could have got back together. And so that's not going to happen, but it led to Chris and I deciding to see what we could do. I've had this box of tapes kind of gathering dust. I just called Chris up and said, you know, we got a lot of cool stuff here and we should really go in the studio and redo this stuff. We're not trying to make this modern. We want to use the same spirit that we used when we first did this and knew nothing. We just needed to get Iggy's voice off these old tapes and then rebuild the songs.
It was going to be really hard to grab an Iggy vocal without dragging in a whole bunch of the other stuff from 1979.
Within the past year, the technology has developed to the point where we can take the old tapes and separate the parts. Until last year, I would have bet you my house that you couldn't take the vocals and guitars off of songs that were already mixed. I thought that was some kind of an audio miracle.
It just opened up the world for us.
Tuesday night in the morning, shining like the sun.
And then just put the new playing around it.
Tuesday night in the morning, shining like the sun.
You get caught up in how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that and what tracks are we going to use, and then it kind of hits you that we're playing right now and we're playing with them. You know, it's kind of hard to describe.
That's like having the band back together again. I didn't think I'd ever get a chance to feel that feeling again, and yeah, that was pretty special.
We started finding all these interesting things that Iggy was doing.
Wow, that was cool.
Fret rattle.
He's just intuitively like just a player. He knew what a song needed,
I never really knew it at the time because he was like the front man. Who knew that he was a good bass player and a good keyboard player, and whatever. I never saw him practice. You hear that? I think Iggy's doing this little chicka chicka thing while I'm playing the rhythm part.
I have no recollection of that at all.
Like that. So we should add that. We're trying to stay as true as we can to the original intent and the original arrangements and even the original like guitar solos and drum patterns and stuff. Yeah, I'd love another shot at that, but it's just gonna have to be a moment in time.
Yeah.
Most of these songs, it would be hard to tell who wrote what. They were very much collaborative. That's why some of them have 11 different parts in them. When I look back at these songs, some of them have sort of crazy changes in them, time changes and key changes that I would never put into a song now if I sat down to write a song. You sort of lose some of that freedom, and I'm really enjoying going back and listening to the original tapes and going, man, how did we do that? It's like really messy, and it's just this kind of roar. I want to make sure that it keeps that same kind of sense of urgency. It just, there's so much.
You want to be 20 again?
Yeah, I guess. No, I'm really glad that we did this when we were kids. This has just been such a lucky break to be able to go back, almost go back in time and recognize what we had and that it was a special period in our lives.
The songs deserved another life, and like it feels really good to give them the treatment that they deserve using today's technology.